I am Gabor Alyosha Bey bringing you part 3 of the notice. Let's move on. If you are arresting this Morris American national without a warrant, you must immediately take him before a judicial officer of competent jurisdiction to determine whether the arrest was lawful or if there was probable cause for the arrest, or you will be held personally liable and accountable for false arrest, kidnapping, and sued in your official capacity. Understand, family. Understand, family. If there was probable cause for the arrest, or you will be held personally liable and accountable for false arrest, kidnapping, and sued in your official capacity. Understand, family. This is the land of the milk and honey. No public servant, unless you really is committing a crime or you're really trespassing on somebody else's property, like a domestic violence or smashing somebody's window, or robbing a person, or, that's what they consider committing a crime. You had committed a crime then. Remember, all crimes is commercial until you trespass on somebody else's property. Okay? Now, besides that, they do not have probable cause. If they haven't seen you committed a crime or articulate you doing a crime, or they do not have a warrant signed by Article 3 judge, supported by a sworn affidavit, it is not a lawful arrest. Understand that, family. So, playing the game, you understand, if you're getting pulled over and they don't have a warrant for your arrest, sworn by, supported by affidavits, there has no probable cause, and it's an unlawful arrest. If you're just walking around, walking down the street, whatever the case may be, and they pull up on you, and they don't have a warrant supported by affidavits, they do not have probable cause, meaning it's an unlawful arrest. This is the land of the milk and honey. You already know them hot boys just gonna pull up on you. They giving it to you. They giving it to you. 6 months of them learning to be the law or learning to be a policy enforcer, they don't know the law. So you got them all day long because they don't know the law. Some of them don't. But ignorance of the law is no excuse. That means we supposed to know and they supposed to know. The first one to that balance scale, to balance the scale out, wins. That's why you always stay in honor. Do not go in dishonor. Always stay in honor. Continue. The arrest shall not be based upon hearsay. They love to come around you and talk about hearsay. I got a call, somebody around the corner, said this, said that, or that supposed to be person made a call to us and said this and said that. Well, that supposed to be person better have a sworn statement under penalty of perjury, and you guys better come up on me with a warrant supported by that same statement that she said or he said. And that's all it is, man. It's simple. It's simple. It's simple. You see what I'm saying? Once again, it'll tell you right here. It'll tell you right here. It tells you. It tells you. It tells you right there. The arrest shall not be based upon hearsay unless supported by a warrant accompanied by a bona fide affidavit. Said warrant and affidavit must be based upon first-hand knowledge of the affiant Worth has a claim against him. So the affiant has to have a claim against you, against she, in order for it to be valid. Charging him with a felony or other infamous crime, this Morris American national must be allowed the rights to face his accuser. So if somebody's saying I did something, I have a right under Amendment 6 to face my accuser. If you deny this Morris American national the right, it will be a violation of the Sixth Amendment. Under the Sixth Amendment, I have a right to face my accuser. And if you act unreasonably in your investigation or use excessive force, it will be a violation of the Fourth Amendment. To be protected, that'll violate the Fourth Amendment. Okay? So it tells you right there, this constitutional rightful demand up here, demand must be met prior to booking. If you do not comply with this right, if you do not comply with the right, I'm telling you right here, family, if you do not comply, must be met prior to booking. If you do not comply with this rightful demand, you will be sued. Simple. Some of these hard-headed dodos, hot boys, they don't know about this because they're going to act like they're above the law. So you already got them set up. It's all about you got the crump. Hey, make a move on the chessboard and make sure you say check me. That's what it's all about. Check me. Please also be informed that under the rules of the Universal Code, activities, please also be informed that under the rules of the Uniform Commercial Code, this first-class Morris American national is not engaging in any commercial activities where motor vehicles licensing is mandatory. First-class Morris American national is a free-born and natural flesh and blood man. Cannot be detained traveling land LC or riding a motorbike or traveling for pleasure in an automobile, and this conveyance form of locomotion is his private property for private use only. Once you go private, they can't touch you. As long as you public, they can bop you across your head. And being a chattel property to the United States, they can bop you across your head. They can shoot you. They can do anything, man. You they slave. They just can come up to the window and bomb. They can do it to anybody. But when they find out that you sovereign to the land, inhabitant of the land, oh, they know they're in trouble. This first-class Morris American is not driving or operate a public property motor vehicle, therefore not engaging in any activity of commerce, and therefore not liable under the motor vehicle statutory law or subject to your jurisdiction. I'm not subject to that jurisdiction because I'm traveling at the land, on the land. You is driving on a piece of paper. The corporation. Understand that, family. If a public official assumes jurisdiction and insists in his or her pursuant engaging a private Morris American national without a viable sworn claim of liability, i.e. affidavits, or a warrant, he or she is trespassing and is therefore no longer immune to prosecution. Once they violate the Constitution, there's no longer immune. It means you can resist. Even if you kill him, you won't get penalized for it because he's doing unlawful activities. Understand that, family. I know people out there, and will be held personally accountable in his or her private capacity for acting outside of his or her official capacity, and will therefore be charged with a hostile act of official aggression and in Article 3 court. The Supreme Court has held that the court has opened 24 hours. The court are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We all know it's 7 days in a year, but we'll go with them 365 days in a year. What if you think it's 365 days in a year and think it's 30 days in a month? Just name the days for me. I bet you can't get past Sunday. You're going to be right back to Monday. Only 7 days. Only 7 days. Where a Moorish American national is detained without a warrant and without having committed a crime, traffic infraction are not a crime. Traffic infraction is not a crime. You have to commit a crime. That's what I was telling you. Traffic, you see it right here. Traffic infraction is not a crime. You have to commit a crime. Therefore, they have to have a warrant sworn by affidavits. Unless the detention is false arrest and imprisonment. Okay? Now you see this? Look how much you could be. Look how much this case law is. Damages award. Trayvon versus City of Tampa. Look at this here. City of Tampa, Florida. Look at this. 1984 motorist illegally held for 23 minutes and a traffic charge was awarded $25,000 in damage. The above case sets the foundation for $75,000 per hour or $1.8 thousand per day. Okay? The privilege is not ordinarily dependent upon the nature of the proceeding in which the testimony is sorted or is to be used. It applies alike to civil and commercial proceeding, wherever this might tend to subject to criminal responsibility on him who give it the privilege, protected, and mere witness, and as fully as it does one who is a party defendant. MCIA, you see it? MacArthur versus case law. The privilege is not ordinarily dependent upon the nature of the proceeding in which the testimony is sought or it to be used. You see it right there, case law, brother. Case law. Please be forewarned, officer, Mr. Hot Boy. Officer, Mr. Hot Boy, policy enforcer, whatever you want to call it, or whatever he want to be that day. If you choose to commit these felonies yourself by demanding one surrender one's driver's license and or registration, state ID, XD, without one's willful consent, when you give it up, when you give him your driver's license, when he come to your window and he act aggressively and you get scared and your heart go to pumping and you give him your identification or you identify yourself, you just willful, you see it right there, you willful consent. That's what you did. You willful consent. You understand what I'm saying? They have to have those credentials, man. They have to have a warrant sworn by affidavits, or they had to see you committed a crime. They just can't come to your window and just put. These guys, it's corporation. Burger King can't come to you. Burger King can't come up to your window. Wendy's can't come up to your window. Walmart can't come up to your window and ask for your identification. These guys are the same thing. You understand? You know what I'm saying? They're the same thing. Don't be scared. The law protect you. The law protect we the people. The law protect we the people. You see it. Without consent, and you persist with one. Without one willful consent, one. That'll be armed assault. Physically threatened, one. That's what you call armed assault when they threaten you. Then you got extortion. Enter contract. That's extortion. By writing a complaint. If he writes you a complaint, a ticket, or whatever the case, by citation, that's extortion. You see it right there. It's extortion. Levy fines without one permission. You know what I'm saying? There you go. 3, identity theft. One's appellation is one private property. It's my private property if I give you appellation, brother. Because I can't be something that was given to me. I can't be all capital letters. That was created by them. It was given to me. So I can't be that. That's why you have to know that. And don't believe that. Because you can't be that. Understand that, fellas. Understand that, fellas. You see it right here. It's not my opinion. It's not my opinion. And you may not take this Morris American property or wrongfully convert any of one property such as this Morris American personal photograph or fingerprint without written authority, which is granted only after an adversary proceeding which accompany check it out, completing with the Fifth Amendment due process of rights. They can't do nothing without due process. Due process is very important. Understand this. Due process is very important. Most of you guys don't know what due process is. You have to get handed a notice as soon as you get pulled over. As soon as the police jump out the car, mess with you, walking on the sidewalk or traveling on the sidewalk, he has to present a notice from somewhere. He just can't tell you, let me see your ID, or ask you for your ID. Because asking, I can say yes or no. If you demanding, land of the milk and honey, buddy. You want to be a rottweiler? I'll make you a poodle in the courtroom. You understand? It tells you right there without due process. It got to be processed, baby. You got to be the Fifth Amendment. That's why it's so important to know the Fifth Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the Seventh Amendment. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment. Conclude with a signed order by a judicial officer of competent jurisdiction ordering the taking of said property, U.S. property. They're not talking about real estate house right here. They're talking about property, U.S. charter property, So if you say I'm not a charter property, 14th Amendment, you is not charter property. But if you consist on being or assist on being or agree to being a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, i.e. corporate person, they can do what the hell they want to do because you up under their jurisdiction. You is up under their jurisdiction. Understand that, family. Understand that. And 4, kidnapping, arrest without a warrant is kidnapping. You see it right there. Kidnapping without a warrant It's called kidnapping. If you arrest somebody without a warrant, that is kidnapping. You will be held personally liable and sued for damages. See it right there, sued for damages, both under your official capacity and individual capacity for your hostile act of official aggression. And if a public official wishes to communicate with this American national, he or she can do so through correspondence by mail to the care of location of Gabor Alyosha Bey, secured party, creditor. You is a creditor. When you're on the private side, you're a creditor. When you're on the public side, you're a debtor. It gets deep, brother. I'm just giving you a prima facie evidence so you can stop the play before it starts. You understand? You got to stop the play before it starts. It all starts from a traffic encounter. You got to stop it right there so it won't get all the way to this. You understand? There you have it. I got my information. I'm a freeborn flesh and blood living man. Non-domestic. Care of blah blah blah. I'm in the republic. I'm not in the state of. I'm in the state republic, not in the state of. Oh, the state of Florida versus you. That's the state of. It's no such thing as a state of. It's a artificial entity. Understand that. Don't get confused. Trust me, I didn't understand. I thought it was the judge, the prosecutor. I thought it was everybody in the courtroom. But come to find out, the state of, not even, that is what they call Jesus. Did anybody see Jesus? Did anybody see Santa Claus or the flying reindeers? Do anybody know or believe? You have to know. Don't believe rabbit lay chicken eggs. You got to believe rabbit lay chicken eggs on Easter. Understand what I'm saying now? We play the games with them, and we don't think. That's what they call paralysis of analysis. We don't think. You have to think out here. Let's move on. Let this notice serve as a mandatory part of the official record of any ensuing action and therefore must be introduced as prima facie evidence in said action. It will be noticed that willful suppression of evidence is a felony. Okay? Any cause of action will result in a lawsuit under USC Title 18, Title 28, and Title 42, 1983. Plus the Fifth Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment. You got to, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we have to know these things. You understand? You have to know how to, just like you can quote a verse in the Bible, you need to quote a constitutional case law or quote a law or quote a statutes, they stuff. Quote it, let them feel it. I'm gonna tell you what you can do with your rules or policies. I'm not going to tell you no more. It's not going to be a verbal warning. It's going to be a written contract. I'm going to put you in contract before you put me in contract. You're going to be in contract also, if you think you got it like that. There you have it. There can be no doubt that the Fifth Amendment privilege is available outside of criminal court proceeding and serve to be protected person in all setting in which their freedom of action is curtailed in any significant way from being compelled to incriminate themselves. Case law. There you have it. There can be no doubt that the Fifth Amendment privilege is available outside of criminal court proceeding and serve to protect persons in all settings in which their freedom of action is curtailed in any significant way from being compelled to incriminate themselves. Case law. Miranda versus Arizona. Case law. Case law. Hale versus Engel. Case law. The United States Supreme Court, which speaking on the law of the land, the opinion of the court states. You see, the individual may stand upon his constitutional right as American national. He is entitled to carry on his private business in his own way. His power to contract is unlimited. Article Amendment 1, free association. If you want to contract, you contract. But once you contract, they got jurisdiction of you. That's why anything you register is jurisdiction. You understand? He owes no duty to the state. You owe no duty to the state or to his neighbors to devolve his business or to open his doors to an investigation so far as it may tend to incriminate him or her. He owes no duty to the state since his receives nothing therefrom beyond the protection of his life and property. His rights are such as exist by the law of the land, common law, long antecedent to the organization of the state, and can only be taken from him by due process of law and in accordance with the Constitution. You see it right there, family? His rights are such as exist by the law of the land, which is common law, long antecedent, excuse me for that word, but you see it, to the organization of the state, and can only be taken from him by due process of law and in accordance with the Constitution. Family, there you have it. He owes nothing to the public as long as he does not trespass upon their rights. There you have it. Don't mess with nobody. Where the Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination is involved, the court has always construed its protection to ensure that an individual is not compelled to produce evidence which later may be used against him or her as an accused in a criminal action. The prosecution or the protection does not merely encompass evidence which may lead to criminal conviction, but include information which would furnish a link in the chain of evidence that could lead to prosecution, as well as evidence which an individual reasonably believed could be used against him in a criminal proceeding. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see it? 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 Right back on top. Hoffman, that's case law. Case law, United States. There you have it. Case law, case law, case law. We have recently noted that the privilege against self-incrimination, the essential mainstay of our adversary system, is found in a corporate complex of value to maintain a false state individual balance, to require the government to shoulder the entire load, to protect the inviolability of the human personality. Our accusatory system of criminal justice demands that the government seeking to punish an individual produce the evidence against him by its own independent labor rather than by the cruel, simple expedient of compelling it from his own mouth. In sum, the privilege is fulfilled only when the person is guaranteed the right to remain silent unless he chooses to speak in the unfettered exercising of his own will. Please note, the above as stated by the Supreme Court are rights and privileges as guaranteed by the Constitution, and anyone, including judges, who knowingly violate this right may be civilly and criminally liable under several federal statutes. Please see United States Code Title 18, Section 241, Conspiracy Against Rights, and Section 241, Deprivation of Rights, under color of law, Title 42, 83, 85, 80, Civil Rights. You see it? Civil rights. There you have it. Any violation of my rights or failure to stop another from violating them by a public servant who has the legal duties and powers to protect those rights shall constitute a crime. Any violation of my rights or failure to stop another from violating them by a public servant. There you have it. So when they call, they back up, and the backup come and let them violate your rights, where it said here, by any public servant, there's in violation of 18, Section 241, two or more officers that intimidate and so forth. That's the violation. If the law is for you, man, the law is for you. There you have it. If you choose to ignore these warnings, it will show bad faith on your part and prima facie evidence of your deliberate indifference to constitutionally mandate rights. A copy of this instrument will be prima facie evidence of your bad faith. Your bad faith. There you have it. You will be held personally accountable, liable, and sued for damages, both under your official and individual capacity. Remember, you are doing business as a public servant, and as such, you are expected to treat me with due respect, as I respectfully thank you for reading this lawful notice. Okay, officer, I cannot and will not offer you any information that may later be used against me in a civil or criminal proceeding. This includes producing documents that may or may not be in my possession. If there is some important information that you must wish to impart upon me, please do so in a respectful manner. I do hope you will have a good day. Respectfully submitted, Gabor Alyosha Bey. Ply. Respectfully submitted. And then you have it right here. You have it right here. Once again, this is Gabor Alyosha Bey, bringing it to you. Sovereign living soul, bringing it to you. Acknowledgement. There you have it. And you can put the officers' names right here. You can put their names right here. Public servant name and badge number. You can put it right there. You can put it right there. And tell them you want to submit it. But then again, don't worry about that. They're going to put it already. They're going to already put it on the citation or the ticket. They're going to put their name and their badge number. It's all about setting them up, family. It's all about setting them up. That's what it's all about. It's all about setting them up, playing the chess game with them. They love to play the chess game, so you play the chess game with them. You know? You play the chess game with them. Traffic, detain, stop, lawful notice, affidavits of truth. Once again, family, you see it for yourself. You see it for yourself. We ran through this I had to bring this information to the people, had to bring it to my loved ones, had to bring it to my family. It get deeper than this. This is just traffic stop. You don't even, you don't have the slightest idea what is a negotiable instrument. Everything is already paid for. It's already paid for. I'm in class now behind that, doing the paperwork for this. Start discharging. And I'm going to make sure my family's straight. I'm going to make sure my loved one's straight. I'm going to show you how it's done. Before I kick the bucket, they're going to know. They ain't going to be lied to. They're going to know if they want to listen. I'm not going to sit around and hold your hand, buddy. I'm not going to sit around and hold your hand. You have to know this. You love to go to church. You better know the Constitution. Because church is not going to tell you, the pastor's not going to tell you what's going on in the real world. I'm here to tell you the truth, what's going on in the real world. I ain't got nothing against pastoring. I ain't got nothing against the church people. I don't knock nobody's belief, but I'm just here to tell you the truth. This is Gabor Alyosha Bey, bringing it to you live. Trapper Detain Stop Lawful Notice, Affidavit of Truth. You see it. You see it. I would like to say one time for my more brothers out there. I would like to say one time for the 850 team, Illustro, Jabir, Noble Antoine. I would like to give thanks to my main man, the Emperor, Wali Abraham Bey, and all the teachers out there. Islam, Islam, Islam.